Hi everyone, Janie here, and this is the last video in my paper making series, and as promised, I am going to show you a few ways to add texture to your handmade papers. Now, if you haven't watched the how-to videos in this series, I am going to put a link at the end of this video to my paper making series playlist. I'm going to put a link below in the description box to my paper making series playlist. And guess what? Just for you, I'm going to put a link right here on the screen as well. Now, the reason that it's important that you watch the how-to videos on how to make paper is because you're not going to understand what I'm going to be telling you right now if you haven't watched that. So you can either go watch it now and come back, or you can watch this and then you'll understand what I'm explaining. So here we go. The textures are added during the time that you are sponging. Okay, so that's when you are going to be adding texture. So let's start off with this one right here. And you can see all those beautiful designs on there. Okay, so that was done with a stencil. So yes, you can use stencils for this. And while it was still wet, like I said, during the sponging process, instead of putting the screen over it to do your sponging, put your stencil over it and do all of your sponging with the stencil on it. And then I left the stencil on for a while and I let this air dry. And that is the other thing. Air drying is really important. You can iron this afterwards, obviously removing this. Once you get the design on there, you can go iron this and it will flatten that design. You will still be able to vaguely see it, but it will flatten it. So I let this air dry. Now let's go on to a different way that you could do instead of a stencil, and that is, I'm going to grab it right here. In one of my videos, you saw me using this netting right here, and I used that during the sponging process, and it leaves, hold on a second here, I'm going to get this up close enough where you can see it, hopefully. Trying to get this to show up on camera is not easy. Okay, well, you know what? You're going to have to trust me that that pattern, wait a minute, there it is kind of showing up a little bit right over here. That pattern is on here, but this was ironed afterwards, so that's why that is so subtle. But had I not ironed it and just did the sponging technique over it with this, and let it air dry, then it would be more prominent. Okay, let's go to another one. How about this one right here? Is that an amazing, awesome texture? Okay, this is my favorite, my all-time favorite. This was done by not sponging it, literally letting it air dry. So it looks really weird if you do that. On the sides, it looks really thick, and you're like, oh, my paper's going to be that thick. But as the water evaporates, it thins out. And so that is definitely an organic texture. Really awesome. So again, don't sponge it. Just let it air dry for something like that. Okay, let's see if I can get another one up here for you to see. Oh good, look at that. You can kind of see that texture on there. Again, this was ironed, so it's not really prominent, but that came from using a screen. So you get the texture of the screen on there. And I'm going to keep repeating this. If you iron it to help flatten it out and make it dry quicker, those textures are not going to be as prominent. And this one, I'm not sure if you can see the texture on there. Oh, there you can see it a little bit. Again, that was ironed, but this is what I used to get that texture. So my point is that there are a lot of things that you can use to get textures, you know, that have little openings in them. And all you have to do is use those during the time that you are sponging. And then for more prominent, you need to let it air dry, and then you will have more prominent results in your papers. So I hope that that gives you some ideas of your own, because you know what you have around the house that you can use. You know, if you have stencils or mesh bags or screens or, whatever it is that you want to use. And those are just some ideas. So have fun experimenting, doing your own thing. And remember, if you haven't seen the rest of the videos on how to do this and you have no idea what I'm talking about the sponging, there are links below in the description box, and there is also a link on the screen here at the end of my video. Happy crafting, everyone, or happy paper making, everyone. Bye-bye.